Hello, welcome to my Smallville Season 2 review. Okay, Smallville Season 2. Basically we left with Season 1 with the tornado. Lana gets swept into the tornado by the car. What happens is Clark goes into the tornado, runs into the tornado, and saves Lana from the tornado. Saves Lana, gets her out of the car, basically, and takes her to the hospital without her knowing it was Clark that was in the tornado, because she blanks out, and she's lying on the ground. You see Lana lying on the ground and Clark over her. And also, this season of Smallville, you see this lady who has an ability to, like, control men. By kissing them. That's her power. And she can make men do whatever she wants, basically. And her name is Desiree. And she basically kisses Lex, and wants all Lex's money, and gets married to Lex, and gets to sign a contract about getting married to Lex. Also, she uses Jonathan Kent. She kisses Jonathan Kent, and basically she wants Jonathan Kent to kill Lex. So Jonathan goes to the mansion and tries to kill Lex. And of course, you see, like, Ryan come back. Ryan was another cool character from Season 1. Who could tell things, what's going to happen, or who knew things before they happened, basically. He knew their thoughts and what they were thinking and that. But he had a blood clot, a blood tumor type thing in his head, because of his thinking of, like, knowing people's thoughts and that. And basically he was going to die, which he did in the end, which was really sad. You see Clark put on this red ring at the school, at Smallville High. Red kryptonite basically controls Clark to become bad, and makes Clark go bad. Like, mixed reactions and that. And he basically tries to steal these discs off this girl named Jessie. And her father. And also, Lana, she gets this, she gets to meet her real father, Mr. Small, and also it's good to see how Lana reacts to see if it is her father, which it is. Ends up it is. Also, Lionel Luthor becomes blind and basically fakes to become blind. You finally realize at the very end of season 2, almost at the very end of season 2, you see Lionel Luthor faked to be blind. There's this hostage situation when Lionel Luthor and Martha Kent are in the Luthor Corp, and basically there's these guys that Lex sent in to basically put bugs, hearing things in Luthor Corp to see what his father was up to, but the guys that did the bug thing held Martha Kent and Lionel Luthor captive. And basically Clark ends up saving them, which is another cool thing. And also we have this love interest with Clark and this girl called Kyla. Who's part of the cave drawing, and her father Joseph. And also there's been pretty cool, like, characters in season 2, I think it's Andy. Or something like that. Andy something. He has this, like, they put kryptonite into themselves with this tube type thing and get strength, and basically they put Clark into fire, which is another cool, awesome bit. And basically you see this guy called, what's his name? Cyrus. He thinks he's an alien, but he's actually adopted. And you find out that he's trying to communicate with aliens. He thinks he's an alien, so he tries to communicate with the aliens and that. So, Cyrus, he's pretty cool. Also we have this guy called, I'm pretty sure it's Ian. Ian's pretty cool. You get to see, like, Ian do some cool things, basically. And of course, at the very end of season 2, Dr. Swan. You see Dr. Swan, which is Reed, Christopher Reed. The guy who used to be Superman. He's pretty cool. He acts as Dr. Swan to tell Clark about his origin, like where he's from and what he's going to become in the future, type thing. And also Walton, Dr. Walton, another doctor. That's pretty cool. Lex gets a love interest with this doctor. Forgot the name. But Lex gets a love interest, gets married. But at the end of season 2, something happens. Not going to spoil it, so you have to watch it and see what happens in season 2, and to see what happens at the very end of the season. And basically you see Clark has to make a choice. He puts, and by the way, Lionel Luthor has this whole kryptonite key. There's a key slot that Clark puts in. In the cave slot, and Lionel Luthor makes a key slot made out of kryptonite. And basically what Clark does is puts the kryptonite into his spaceship. And basically his spaceship makes a whole explosion. Which is another cool thing. Martha Kent is basically pregnant, but with the explosion, something happens with the baby, and yeah. Clark puts on the ring again at the very end of the season. Because he wants to leave Smallville. He's like depressed because of what happened with the baby. Clark puts on the ring and becomes bad, well, kind of bad again, and leaves Smallville. And basically becomes bad, and you find onwards from season 3, basically, and you see Lex, in this season you see Lex Luthor, of season 2 you see Lex Luthor, and how Lex Luthor, Clark Kent were little, with Jonathan and Martha and Lionel. And how they all first met. Pete Ross, Clark's friend, he finds out that basically Pete finds out that Clark's this owner of the spaceship. Also, there's this episode when Clark gets a fever, basically. And with the kryptonite, what happens to his mum, because they get kryptonite both in themselves, and they almost die, but it's cool it's a cool episode what happens with the kryptonite episode with fever, when they get the fever, and they have to see what happens basically with Clark and Martha. It's a pretty cool episode. Also, you basically see yes, you see this episode with Chloe and Pete, and I'm not quite sure what the episode's called, I forgot, but they get this thing in the back of their neck in season 2. This is season 2 still. They get this thing in the back of their neck from the cave, and this guy ends up dying because he's acting strange for some reason, and it makes them act strange to kill themselves, basically. And it's a creature that makes them try and commit suicide and acting strange themselves, like bad themselves. And basically, Pete first, he starts to act bad. and he starts to do all these weird, heroic things to himself, but knowing Clark has superpowers, Clark always stops him. Then Chloe basically investigates the cave, and Chloe ends up getting it too, the creature thing in her neck and in herself. And Chloe and Pete start to act all weird. Basically. Then Pete slips red kryptonite in Clark's pocket, and basically Clark and Chloe end up kissing. Basically, of course, and start to do strange things, and like weird and heroic things, and then the kryptonite falls out of his pocket, basically, and Clark ends up taking Pete and Chloe to the hospital, and that's basically what happened. So this is my Smallville Season 2 review. I think I left some bits out, but it's okay. But it's pretty good. So thank you for listening to my Season 2 review of Smallville Season 2. See you guys next time for Season 3, and thank you for watching the Jacob's Review Show.